Hello, Phantom shipmates again. Well, enough of this talk about leisurely saunters across the Bay of Biscay. And now it's time for some real serious sailing. And I'm all set, ready to go tomorrow morning first thing and head off from the northwest tip of Spain for Horta in the Azores. It's a trip of about 1,100, just over 1,000 nautical miles, but because of the route I have to take because of the wind, it'll actually be about 1,150, something like that. We'll see how this all plays out, and take 9 or 10 days. So this is some serious sailing. This is not a little coastal hop, so I had to take it seriously in the planning and the preparations for it. And I'm just about ready to go. Let me show you quickly what we're going to do. Oh, here's where I am now on the northwest coast of Spain, in a ria called Vibero. This is the coast of France over here. This is the Bay of Biscay that I came across to get here. So then from here, I'm going to head out down to the southwest to right here. This is where Horta is. As I mentioned earlier, this is the Mecca of sailors, because everyone doing a transatlantic passage going certainly coming this way stops there. So it's well known to sailors, and there's a couple. I'm going to do some extra miles, probably an extra 100 miles, 100 nautical miles, by heading up to the northwest and then due west for 3 or 4 days, well past the midway point, and then start to ease slowly down toward the islands so that I don't get that head-on wind. So that's the picture. 9 or 10 days if everything goes well. Let's hope that it does. There's one other point that I want to make out to you, is that this area here, when I leave, why am I leaving at dawn? That wasn't just because I like to get up early. This is a very heavily trafficked region. I'm sure you can't see this, but here's the western coast of France, and here's Spain. And all of those dots that you see there, they're ships, they're cargo ships, going from the Mediterranean up to the UK or northern France or Germany or Scandinavia. It's a very, very busy area. And there's even what's called a traffic separation scheme in place there, although I'm going to pass just to the north of it. So I'm not underestimating at all the challenge ahead. This should be great fun, but also a pretty serious challenge. It's not ideal weather. I'm going to have 2 to 3 meter waves for a large part of this. I'm going to be into the wind for a fair, what they call reaching, but we'll see. We'll see close reaching for part of it, which means that the wind is going to be coming into my face, and that's always a little bit more difficult and uncomfortable. But if you want to go without waiting weeks and weeks and months for the absolutely ideal weather conditions, what I'm doing is actually not bad. There's not a major storm. I looked all over the Atlantic Ocean. I may have some difficult time and some challenging wind, but I'm not going to have a massive storm that's going to rip the mast off or anything like that, God willing. But I'm sure that there will be times when I'll be very tired and getting beat up by the waves and the wind. But that's part of sailing, so I'm really looking forward to this. Good morning, Phantom shipmates. Well, this is it. I'm on my way. Been underway now for about an hour. I left when it was pitch black. I'm sure you can't see it, but in the horizon there, that's the Ria of Vibero. That's where I left. And I want to show you over here behind me something you'll see. You won't see any more of for another 9 to 10 days is land. That's the coastline of northern France, northern Spain, excuse me. Now once I get around that point, it's up there, that's it. Then I'm heading out for blue water. Hello shipmates. A little more than 2 hours in, we're flying along, just flying. I've already made
at least a half a dozen changes to the sails. A single reef, a double reef, back to a single reef. Then I let them all out, and now I'm back to a double reef again. And I had my first material failure. I don't know if you can see what this thing is. This is a batten. It slides into the sail to help give it form there, but I didn't want it to damage the sail. So I dropped the sails, I pulled it out, and then I put the sail back up again. So I hope that no damage will come to the sail. I'm hoping it's mostly for aerodynamics and keeping the form, and there's a whole art to getting a twist in your sail to let some of the air spill out up high and keep the driving force down low. And I'm hoping that that's what the primary function of this is, and there's no safety function, that the sail will not be damaged. But I just wanted to show you something very quickly. I hope this will come through on the AIS, the Vesper Marine AIS. Last night when I was explaining the course to you and the strategy that we're going to do, I showed you that we're going to cross an area where there's a lot of ships. So I just want to show you that right now, and I hope you can see that. These are all commercial cargo ships and freighters and cargo transport of all different types, and they're right now about 10 to 12 miles ahead of me. A whole bunch of them crossing, and some of them are going to cross very closely. So hours, because you can see there's a lot of traffic there. Those are all the ones going north. I'm sure that just a bit more out to the northwest there, I'm going to see all the ones that are heading south. So that's why I wanted to do this during the daylight rather than at night. Okay, a quick update. The name of the ship that's crossing paths with me is Dynatrator. And I'll show you, here's what it looks like now. Collision warning is what the computer says. 0 distance to impact, and because we're both moving, there might be a slight, the computer is constantly recalculating. And the time to closest point of approach is in 11 minutes. I'll show you what he looks like 11 minutes away from something terrible. Obviously we won't let that happen, will we? You can see it. That's him on the horizon there. And this is what's known in naval talk as the constant bearing decreasing range. So his relative position to my boat hasn't changed at all, but the range has decreased, which means that there is going to eventually be a collision. Technically, I'm the privileged vessel. I can maintain my course and speed, and he's supposed to maneuver. But sometimes that's negotiated. So I'll give it another few minutes, and I might give him a courtesy call. Let me see if the computer gives it a little better resolution of the crossing. Dynatrator. This is the sailing vessel Isabelle. Good afternoon.
Dynatrator reply. Good afternoon.
Yes, Dynatrator. This is a sailing vessel Isabelle. AIS shows us crossing quite closely. My intentions are to maintain course and speed, and I should pass just aft of you.
Yeah, it should be as close to one cable, so I give you a way to change my course to starboard side. Keep your speed and course.
Roger that. I'll maintain course and speed. Thank you much. Good day.
You're welcome.
And that's how it works. Notice I said my intentions. You shouldn't ever tell the other boat, I want you to turn or whatever. So that can sometimes be dangerous, because he may not be able to turn for whatever reason. So you're supposed to say, my intentions are to maintain course and speed, or my intentions are to turn to starboard, or something like that. So I said I was going to maintain course and speed, and he said that he was going to turn to starboard. That means that he should pass aft of me, which is what he's technically supposed to do. But it would have been close, but okay,
just to continue as we were. Anyway, I'll show you a picture of him when we pass. So now you can see he has altered course to starboard. So he's turned to the right. That's going to make him pass aft of me. And that's legally and technically what he should have done. He could have just continued on course, and it would have been a close passing, crossing, but that's the way it is. So, coming to the end of the first day, daylight hours at sea, starting my first night. We got underway about 14 hours ago from Vivero, and when we got underway, there were squalls and 20-25 knots of wind. It was quite robust. I did quite a number of sail changes, putting in a reef, putting in a second reef, and letting out the reefs and putting them back in again, and dropping the sails in order to remove the damaged batten, and then hoisting them up again. It was pretty physical day in terms of sail operations. And that's actually, it's an important point, because one of the things when you're a single sailor is if you find yourself doing a lot of that, it's quite fatiguing. The sails are heavy, and especially when the wind is blowing, like today, when it was at that point up until about 2 o'clock this afternoon, the wind was blowing 23-25 knots. So that it's hard to maneuver all the sails like that. It's very physical, and the temptation is to say, I'll just leave it, but then you risk getting caught out, and that can be exciting. So always preferable to be a bit cautious in that. So I'll have for the night sail, I'll have one reef in. Not much risk of running into fishermen's traps out here. We're a long ways away. There's no fishing grounds here, so I'm not going to pick up any nets or anything like that, knock on wood, unless they're a floating net, a broken net that's broken away. In the environmentalists call those ghost nets. They're an absolute nightmare. They float around the ocean, killing all sorts of wildlife and fish and turtles and dolphins and all of that. And one of those you can pick up at any time. So let's hope that doesn't happen. So that's it for today. Looking forward. I did notice that I'm sure you can't see it, but there's a nice moon there. I love that at night at sea there, and maybe I'll figure out how to use a GoPro to show a starry night with a nice moon. It's just beautiful without all the light pollution from the city and all that.